Just could not get the shot down. And what happens? Opens up with an X.
And you know, I was watching Bruce practice, and he seems like he throws the ball real well.
And that's a pretty well ball, Bruce Lenoff. You know, he's the nephew of Earl Lenoff, who was on our program in week 1. Earl lost in our first match on week 1 to Earl Weatherford, who won that week. It's kind of funny, though, Earl's here today. As of every week, Earl's always here. And Earl said, yeah, we start and we finish the Lenoffs, because this is the final week of the Super Bowl TV Merit Tournament qualifying rounds. And that is 2 awesome balls in a row.
That is sheer power, and looks like we do have our little Marine back. You know, he's bowling with one of those new gadgets called a Cobra, which firms up your wrist and gives you a little more turn on the ball.
Well, we have a pick 'em up and put 'em down match. Jim Sparks with a double, Bruce Lenoff with a double. Who will be the first to give in?
Well, I wouldn't want to pick one, but you know, Jim has also got 5 children: and Alan, Sue, and the junior, and David and Randy. And he's
Jim for 3, no.
And that is what we call a quick 8.
Looking at the handicaps, Jim's a +6, where Bruce is a +22. Jim's 49 years of age. He's from your territory. He's from Cincinnati, Eddie. Yes, they do travel over this side of the river. And for the conversion, yes. Jim's 49 years of age. But here's Bruce. He's working on 2 in a row. He's 24 years of age, from Erlanger, Kentucky. He's single, if we have any single viewers out there. And there's the roller, and there's 3 in a row. Mark it down.
And the little Marine is here. Remember, he got out of the gate with 4 in a row and then hung a 10.
And then finished it out. All X's.
And, of course, we send our best wishes to Gary and wish him well in the Marines. He's got a nice straight underneath the ball and comes right up through it.
And there's 4 in a row. Bruce Lenoff.
And that voice you hear in the back coming saying, "Carry, carry," that's Earl.
Well, let's see Jim. You know, that has to be a little disturbing to Jim, watching your opponent start off with 4 in a row. But Jim's not doing too bad himself. 3 out of 4.
And that third one wasn't too shabby. It just hit a little too hard and left a quick 4-7.
Jim, as I was stating earlier, is 49 years of age, and he is married. And like you said, he has 5 children. His highest game ever was a 289. His highest series, a 769. And there it is. So Jim, not shook at all, has 4 strikes. Bruce Lenoff has 4 strikes. And we're halfway through this first men's match, and it is a dandy. And we'll be back with the conclusion right after this. There's a shot of our beautiful scoreboard. I'd like to thank our scorekeeper while we're talking about it. Dallas Creech is working the score. Is that how Sandy won, by the way? Dallas keeping score. No, Sandy bowled a super game.
Of course, that scoreboard was kind of graphic. We got 8 out of 9 strikes.
8 out of 9. And this man is 4 for 4. Pete Rose would be happy in that day. Let's see it. There's, oh boy. Solid 4.
Is that memories? 4 in a row and a solid hit.
That's memories. Roger memories.
Cross lane.
Do you think maybe, Eddie, that commercial break kind of broke some rhythm?
No, he threw the ball just about as well as he could, and I'm sure if he wanted to throw the ball over again, he'd do the same thing. He had it in the area where he belonged.
Bruce Lenoff's a 172 bowler. Average, that is. That's not bad. His highest game, 258. Highest series, 642. 642.
Well, I'll tell you, he's as solid a 172 as I've ever seen. But I like his hobby, hiking and climbing at Red River Gorge.
I do too. That's what I did over spring break this year. And he was almost looking at a little trouble. The 6, 7, 10 was standing there, but the 7 kicked out.
Well, when you go, don't forget to call me. I don't want to go.
The Gorge. That's a place I'll never forget. And I'll never forget your bowling lessons either, Eddie. I sure hope not anyway. For the conversion.
Well, if all possible, I'm going to be over here tonight to watch your debut.
Is it possible to be nervous? Because I am shaking like a leaf.
Now you'll take the bowling like a fish takes the water.
Or here's Jim Sparks. And just, Eddie, one question. Tell me why.
Well, if I had an answer to that one, I'd patent it and make $1 million, because that ball was definitely a solid 10. The 6 went straight up in the air, and just nothing you can do about it. That's where they live. You go cross lane and knock off the spare, which he did.
Bruce Lenoff is plus 26. We're heading into the top of the 7th. Jim, you know, it's kind of strange, a 3-step bowler. It's not strange, but you don't see too many, Eddie.
No, but, you know, I was once given a talk, and I said there's only one 3-step bowler that I ever seen, and that was, oh gosh, I can't think of his name, and I showed a film of him, and darn if he wasn't doing 4 steps. He's now in the Hall of Fame.
And he is?
I'll get to it. Well, Rudy Fassel was the first one around here that came in with 3, and then he switched to 4, and then to 5 as he got older.
Well, here's Bruce Lenoff. He crosses over for 9.
Yeah, as long as he stays clean, Jim's going to have to keep putting some marks down there with some what we call chicken feet, them little crows on the end of them. There's a good shot at the Cobra. He's solid underneath the line and steady on his mark.
For the conversion. You know, Bruce is self-employed, he says. He'll do any odd job, painting, landscaping. He'll even climb the Red River Gorge for you, I guess, Eddie, if you don't want to do it.
You know, he's another line bowler, and like he said, he just lines up a board to the pocket and lets it go.
And just when it looked like it was clear sailing, watch out.
Well, yes, he's using 2 balls. If you notice, he's using 1 ball for the strike and a harder surface ball for the spare. And the reason for that is that the ball will not hook much, is evident right there. It has a little harder shell and will slide.
Well, that gives Jim Sparks a chance to get back into it, but he doesn't have much time. Well, he's in the 8th frame. Jim has 5 strikes out of 7 balls. Make that 6 for 8. Jim doesn't have a bad award himself. A 700 award.
Well, I tell you, that shooting 700 is a nice series. They give you a patch for that.
It was not only 700, it was a 769. And Jim goes Brooklyn and leaves a 6.
He almost got a break and kicked that off the wall. He'll cross lane with this one, as he did the 10.
This match is very tight now, Eddie.
I'm noticing Jim, with interest, he has a slight drift. And if you viewing audience, if you're going to drift, make sure it's left to right, which is the way he's going. If you're drifting from right to left, try and correct it.
The winner of this match will meet the top qualifier, Ted Buemi. But here's Lenoff.
And that one picked up the thumb hole. He just went over the top of it.
Well, Bruce is clean. He's starting from scratch. He's on the open frame. The scores in the 8th frame are 194 to 192. Sparks is working on a spare in the 9th. And here's Bruce.
And if you notice, he didn't switch balls for the spare because he knows he has to hook the ball through the track and get on the left side of that head pin. And there's more than one way to make it. He threw it right in the pocket.
Well, Eddie, in a tight match like this, you're all even heading into the 10th frame. Do you want to bowl first or second?
I would rather have mine and sit down and let him get his. It's a lot easier to have him on the wall than to go out there and try and get him. And I think you can apply that to any sport. I think you heard Nixon the other night saying if you let them score in the first inning, they got the advantage.
Well, let's see if Bruce can score, and he scores Brooklyn. He scores 10 Brooklyn, that is.
I'm sure he don't care what kind they are as long as they go down.
So I guess you're right. That puts a little pressure on Jim now.
And if you notice, he's looking dead at that scoreboard.
Well, if he strikes out, he can
lock him up.
Lock him out.
Sure. And not a thing.
And he let that go.
A little wide.
Little wide, yeah.
Well, I think what happened is that he just started charging the line. And if you start charging that line, you lose a little control up there. And again, he's keeping the same ball in his hand because he has to get to that 8-pin.
Well, the pressure is all on Jim Sparks. Bruce did all he can do. He finished with a super ball game. 2-3-4. 2-3-4. That puts Jim. He'll need 2, Eddie, I believe.
He does need 2, and then stay behind the line.
Well, you don't see many games where you roll a 2-3-4 and you're in jeopardy of losing. And Jim.
Whoops. Yeah, he had him coming out of the pit.
Well, that'll do it. Bruce Lenoff will win it. Super match.
And it's a possibility he'll lose by 3 sticks. And he lost a couple super hits, too, here at Super Bowl.
Jim Sparks can finish with a 231. There's only 2 weeks a 231 would not have won this.
Now, view with interest here. He says fishing, hunting, and softball. Nowhere in here does he say babysitting. And that's a good spot for that, the 8-10.
You get to see some mad crankers in the final match of the final week of the Super Bowl TV Merit Tournament, and we'll be back with that match right after this. The final match of the final week of the finals of the Super Bowl TV Merit Tournament. Bruce Lenoff, who just defeated Jim Sparks 234 to 229, will be leading off on lane 7.
And that's the way we came in. Little different hit, little off the wall.
He came in with 4.
You know, it was Ted's choice where he wanted to start or finish. And I asked him, how come you wanted Bruce to lead off? And he says, no particular reason. He just wanted him up there.
But this man can crank it, and that's a way to do it. Ted Buemi. B-U-E-M-I. Ted is an 8 handicap where Bruce is at 22. Ted's 20 years of age from Fort Mitchell, Kentucky. He's averaging 190. He's only been bowling 4 years.
He's 5'4" and 115 pounds. But I tell you, he's 6'10", 220 with that bowling ball.
There you go.
He's spinning it down there. I think he's our first full spinner.
Looks like a flying saucer going down there.
Frisbee player. He's got a track, Nick. I bet you if you look at it, it'd be right on the bottom of the ball. Hello.
Hello. Where'd that come from? And we're in the same situation as we were last game. 2 in a row apiece, Eddie.
Here we go again.
Bruce rolled his first 600 series in January of this year, and I'm sure he'll see many more of them.
Now we have complete opposites. One takes the ball pretty straight to the pocket, and the other one takes a scenic tour.
Well, Bruce for 7.
You know, Nick, if Bruce had a fault that he has, is that he seems to start building up a little anxiety within himself and starts charging the line. And that's when you see him finish a little sideways and going over the top of the ball. And he's moved to the left. And all of them.
For the conversion. Well, let's see Ted Buemi. Let's see what he can do. He can do a lot, I'll tell you. His highest game was at 275, and his highest series is 723. So he can do a lot.
He seems to have your footsteps here. He's 20 years old, basketball, Kentucky.
Yeah, those are my footsteps. And I hope that's my footsteps too. 3 in a row. Yeah, Ted said he attended U of K for a couple years, and now he's attended SOC, Southern Ohio College.
And he wrapped that one off the wall. And of course, I like his final one, programmer.
Computer programmer.
You got it.
Let's see if he can punch some buttons here. Well, he hits the buttons, and yes, the buttons respond.
Is that confidence? He turned his back on it.
That's confidence. That's 4 in a row. You have reason to be confident.
It's confidence in his bowling ball.
This looks like the same game as last time.
And just a little high, just pulled it. See, Ted has a little more area to play with out there than Bruce has. He's sort of taking the ball down the line and into the 1-3 pocket. He's using a full 16-foot approach with a hard ball. You notice that time he switched to the other one because he didn't want any hook on the ball.
You know, Eddie, we're talking about how I joined a league and league play starts tonight. Well, if I ever want to know what league to join, I'll talk to Bruce. Yes, he bowls in the Tuesday Wildcat, the Friday Night Laters, the Tuesday 3-man, and a Monday men's handicap. So he seems to know the leagues around town. He's certainly finding the area. There's a big ball.
And that was a perfect example of what the 2-pin's supposed to do on that high hit. It went up against the wall and knocked out the 4-7.
Here's Ted working on 4 in a row.
And he's a programmer, and all he has to do is push the button and say repeat.
Let's see what he does. And there's that button. 5 in a row. Ted Buemi.
And I think that's the longest streak that we've had from the start. I don't know. I think Roger may have had 5. I'm not sure, but it's a pretty good opener.
No one's complaining. There they are. X's across the board.
Can he make it 6? Yes, he can.
6 in a row. Ted Buemi.
We're halfway home. What a way to go out, Nick, if we could get these next 6 for our final week.
You make it sound so easy. Just get the next 6. Let's see what Bruce Lenoff can do. He's not bowling a bad game himself. He's got 3 out of 5. Make that 4 out of 6. One mistake and Bruce Lenoff could take the lead, even though Ted's rolled 6 in a row.
I think there's been 4 300s shot on the PBA tour, and I think the very first one was shot way back in about 1960 sometime by Jack Biandello, and a fellow by the name of Jim Stefanich, and then a fellow by the name of Wayne Zahn, and a little high, and a 4-9 with the 7 trailer. And who knows, we might have one right here in Super Bowl.
Eddie, talking about 300s, I see that ring on your finger. Let's talk about that one for a minute.
Well, he went down and finished out with 9.
How many 300s do you have, Eddie?
I got 18 of them, but
How many?
18, but only 4 of them sanctioned.
18?
But they only give you the ring when you do them in leagues or in tournament competition that is sanctioned.
You mind giving me one?
Trip it. Get it.
Oh, boy. I think we jinxed him, Eddie.
Well, I tell you what, he had it in the area. And isn't it strange? It was on the right lane again.
That lane 8 has been the tough lane all year.
And for the conversion.
Now it's time to dig in the scrapbook and see what our highest game of the year has been. And it belongs to Roger Crawford, a 268. And it was a scratch game.
Ted's taking his time here, and he's only 20 years old, but I tell you what, he's got the head ahead of somebody 40, because he knows exactly what he wants to do with that ball. That wasn't as pretty as the other shot, but this one here counts.
He's plus 34, and he's in good shape.
And if he can string the board, he can shoot 279.
And look at Bruce Lenoff. If he strings them, oh boy, we're talking 263, 253.
We're getting some good numbers up here, aren't we? And there's a graphic, Bruce Lenoff with a 172 average.
Bowls a little closer to a 212 average.
And that was a case of too much roll on the ball. I tell you, for a 172 shooter, I like his style. And he's switching to the harder ball and moving to the left.
There's Ted, who's 7 for 8 on strikes, and he picked it up, Eddie.
Oh, I kind of like little Teddy up there. He has reached over there and patted him on the back, and for his size and Bruce standing on the approach, that's a pretty good reach. He patted him on the back and says, "Nice shot."
Let's see what Ted can do. He's 7 of 8.
Wow. And that was as solid as you could get it.
Solid 10.
He had that one buried a foot in the pocket, and that 6 just flew up over the top of the 10.
Ted uses a 15 1/2 pound ball.
You'd never convince those pins. And a spare. He seems to have a real solid game.
Well, if he strikes out, he will own our highest game ever on television. The highest game was a 268, and he cannot do it. I was wrong. If he strikes out, he'll get a 267.
Got that a little wide, and here it comes. He got that out there in what we call the dry area, and the ball just come a-running.
Ted's highest game, like we said, was a 275. And he was certainly in pace with that today.
This young fellow is a confident young man. It makes no difference what he's going to do. He's going to do it well. You like to see that in these young bowlers. He knows what it's all about to win. And he takes his time, drives his ball off, sets his feet. And there's Ted Buemi.
Let's see how Ted can finish. With
that's
a solid
different type of 10.
254. 254. It's not a bad way to finish. Not a bad way to start. It's not a bad first game on television.
Too bad we don't have more to go. I wonder where he was trying to qualify, if he had tried earlier to get on the show.
And Bruce running into split problems, but he did have a problem in the last frame. Picked up the 6-7.
Well, this one here, he'd need the dumbbells. This one here is very difficult to make. I'm sure he'll just give it a twirl. Come over and shake Ted's hand and say, "See you next week."
254 to 200. Ted Buemi, our champion in Week 8 of the Super Bowl TV Merit Tournament. And we'll be back with check presentations and a little bit of everything. We're back at the Super Bowl lanes in Erlanger, Kentucky. I'm Nick Benj along with Eddie Jackson. And we've just completed Week 8 of the Super Bowl TV Merit Tournament. And Eddie, Week 8 is our final week of the Super Bowl tournament.
Yeah, final week, and an exciting one it was. And we had a little diminutive Ted Buemi who just started off with the first 5 and left to go in and shoot a 254. But it was very exciting, and I think about right now we ought to turn this whole shooting match over to our genial host, Doug Martin, here at Super Bowl for the presentation. Doug?
Eddie, thank you very much. And we'll start with the ladies. Sue Lamke, she ran into a little split problem there, but she still had a fine showing for her first time on TV. Sue, have a check here for you for 3rd place. Congratulations. And Pam Combs, she's a real strong left-hander there, and rolled a real fine game, but she ran into a tough customer today in Sandy Creech, but 2nd place isn't too shabby, and we have a check here for you for that. Congratulations. And Sandy, what can we say? Got to hear championship for your 2nd week, and you can give Dallas some credit, I guess, for that. But you did a real fine job today, and came through when you had to in that last game. Have a check here for you for 1st place. Congratulations, Sandy. Then down on my left for the men, these guys were destroying the pins today. Jim, you had a great game, but came up a few sticks short, but still a super showing here for your first time on the show. And we have a check here for you for third place. Congratulations, Jim.
Thank you.
And Bruce Lenoff, you started out of the gate like a tiger in both games there, but I don't know. That Ted was just awful tough here today. But it's not too bad to get beat with a 254. Anyway, we have a check here for you for second place money, Bruce. Good shooting. Congratulations. And Ted, I thought we were going to have our 300 game here this week to close out the show. That would have been something, but still a 250 game on TV on your first time. That's real super. So we have a check here for you for the championship, first place money. Congratulations, Ted. Great shooting. Turn it back over to Eddie.
Well, I'll take it. Well, I like introducing this because this will be the final week I get to introduce about the tournament. And it's interview time, Eddie Jack's interview time. Since everyone's throwing strikes, Eddie, you have all the time in the world.
That's the wrong thing to say to me, believe me. Sue, I got to talk to you a minute. If you come right on over here. You know, Sue, I watched you throw the ball in practice, and you were coming out of the ball real nice and clean, getting a nice roll and a nice hook on the back end of the ball because you really threw the ball well. What happened?
I just didn't bowl well at all. I guess nervousness.
Just got a little bit nosy out there, didn't you?
I
Just,
sure did.
You sure did, right?
Right.
Well, it seemed like to me you were just coming up at the foul line a little bit. Do you feel, when you see the show, I think you'll watch it and check it out.
Maybe I'll learn something.
We all learn every time we ball. Pam, come on over here, will you please? Pam, I watched you in practice, and you looked like you weren't going anywhere, and then you come out of the gate and start throwing the ball super. Looked like you had a good roll on the ball.
Oh, thank you. I didn't feel like it, though.
Well, I noticed one thing. I was comparing your approach to our little gal over here, Creech, and I noticed that you're got that right knee a little stiff.
Yeah, that's what you told me. I got arthritis in it, so it may be a little tough for me. When I go down, it gets stiff on me.
Well, I got news for you. I know all about Arthur. Arthur's taken care of me a few times.
Well, I don't know what to say to that.
Well, Sandy, come on over here and let me chat with you because, you know, we sort of put the hat on your old man, and I don't know if it's going to be safe for you to go home because we said he didn't want to bowl because he had a bad back.
Well, he said it was my fault, and it wasn't. I didn't make him dance. Pam said I just dipped him too low.
You dipped him too low. I always thought it was the other way around.
Well, usually it's supposed to be, I guess, but that's what she said, so I guess I'll leave it at that.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I was comparing your approach. You give a clinic, really. It's a beautiful style to watch. You take your time, you put your feet where they belong, and then you go up there real nice and smooth.
I wasn't so smooth that first game. I got kind of fast on my feet, and then the second game, when I got into trouble with the splits, I decided I'd better move over, so I moved aboard on the approach and on the lanes.
And you know what? We caught that move on camera, and I made comment that, by golly, she's made an aboard move.
Yeah, I did. Usually I only move on the approach, but today, with the lanes drying out the way they were, I moved on the lanes too.
Did you move left or right?
I moved left.
And that's a good tip for all of you viewing. If the ball seems to be running a little high, you move to the left.
Well, it took me a while to learn that, and once I did learn, whatever way your ball is moving, you move that direction with it.
And who taught you?
My husband.
She hated to say it, but I knew Dallas taught her. Jim, I tell you, you know, to come out of the gate the way you did and matching strike for strike and then leaving that real quick 8, as we call it, how did you feel about that one?
A little disappointed.
And then you come back, I think, with a couple more and then left a wrap 10 over here on lane 8 again.
It's also disappointing.
I guess that's what I'm going to get out of you, and that's going to be awful disappointing. But you know what? You threw the ball real well, and my congratulations. You know, all you guys did a heck of a job today. You shoot 200 or plus. So, Jim, my congratulations to you, and I'm sure that you'll have good success in your career.
Thank you.
Come on over here. I got to talk to this guy. I was kidding, Bruce. In between the matches, I said, for 172 average bowler, he looks like a solid shooter.
Well, I got a little quick with my feet there toward the end of both games. I should have moved in the second game, but I didn't. they were drying out on me a little bit or something. I left 3 splits toward the end of the second game, and if I'd have just moved to the left, maybe a board, I probably wouldn't have left them.
Well, you know, that's part of education of bowling, and if you heard Sandy over here saying that she made the adjustment and the move, and you have to do that. And, of course, 172, I think you've only been bowling, what, 4 years?
I've been bowling in leagues about 3.
About 3?
Yes, I've been bowling since I was little, but not seriously.
Well, it looks like you're taking it serious now, almost too serious for Ted Buemi, and that's who I'm going to talk to now. Ted, you get on over here. You know, I commented that you're 5'4", and I'm just under 6'2", but I got news for you. When you put that bowling ball in your hand, you're bigger than I am.
I just try to be consistent with my game.
I noticed, I'm going out on a limb here, is your ball tracking on the bottom almost?
Well, I tried to stay behind the ball, and when I was getting to the line, I was getting a little nervous, and I was coming over top of the ball, which made it spin a lot.
I noticed you were talking to yourself up there in the seat, and you were making a motion going like this. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I was saying.
But, you know, you have so much power on the back end of the ball that you were saying you just turned your back on a couple of the hits.
Well, I'm trying to cut my break down on the end because it hooks a lot. And everybody's been telling me I throw a heck of a crank ball, but I've been trying to cut it down. But I was satisfied with my game today.
Well, keep your eye on the Pro Tour, and you'll see the ones who hit the ball, put the fingers in the ball, are the ones that are cashing with the pills. And believe me, don't lose the turn because it creates an area for you, and you can play anywhere you want to play.
Okay.
But you know what? I've been talking to Nick for quite some time here, you know, about bowling, and we've been trying to teach this guy how to bowl, and of course he's got up the interview time, and I want to talk to you, Nick. What do you think about this game of bowling?
I'll tell you, Eddie, I really enjoyed it. I've learned so much in such a short period of time that it's hit me all too fast. I really don't know how to react. I'm just having so much fun.
Here I am handing you a mic, and you got one in your hand.
Yours is pretty.
But anyway, you know, I'm getting tired of talking about your bowling and how we're working on your game, and I think it's time for him to. What do you got to show me that your progress has done anything?
Well, I got to show you. I can show you the bowling ball you bought me.
Oh, that isn't going to do it. I think, being this is our last show, I think that we got to show them some progress that you've made. Because I'm coming out here tonight to watch you perform. We're going to pack this house.
All right, I'll throw one. Doug, get out of my way. No, could you hold out?
Everybody get out of the way, because we don't know what's going to happen. And here we are at Super Bowl, on camera, live. Nick Benj, choke artist. Notice he gets his spot, moves the ball to the right. Nice 4-step approach. And he choked. Well, Nick, it was a good effort and a good try, and we'll let you close off the show.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone at the Super Bowl lanes, all the bowlers, all the hosts. No need running through the names. I messed up last week. Eddie, thank you very much. I've learned a lot and really enjoyed it. Really did.